to see my screen here as well as hear me. So if either of those stop working, just type out a quick message. They shouldn't, but if either of them goes out during the webinar, just type out a quick message to let me know. Debbie, are you by yourself or do you have other people with you? Okay, great. I see there's 3 others. So again, my name's Jamie Wallace. I'm from Brainfuse, so I'll be doing the webinar today. And I'm one of the contact people for you as well, so if you ever have any questions, you can feel free to contact me, any questions about Brainfuse. So today we're just going to go over the service in general. Hopefully that'll answer any questions you have. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the service or haven't seen it at all before, but I'll pretty much click on everything, show you exactly how it works. And if you have any questions, go ahead and type them out in that chat box. And I'll try to stop every few minutes as well and give you some time to type out questions if you'd rather wait until I do that. So this is the main page that you see on the screen here. So this is what your students will see when they access Brainfuse. And you're subscribing to the Job Now service. So this is specific to job search help. So we offer help with all aspects of the job search process. And basically you access the different parts of our service just by clicking on the buttons you see here. I'm not exactly sure where you've decided to put the link, so it's up to you where you put the link for your students to access this. But wherever that is, the students go on it, they click on the link. It depends on how you set it up with our tech department, what the authentication method is. With our libraries, it's usually library card numbers. Sometimes it's IP addresses. So again, I'm not sure how that's set up. That would have been done with our tech department. But however that's set up, wherever the link is, your students connect. This is the page they'll get to. So today I'm going to go over how you use the service once you're here. So we basically have these 4 buttons here in the middle of the page. Okay, I see the links on the home page using IP authentication. So that's great. That's how your students will access the service. Once they're here, they can click on each of these buttons to access a different part of our service. So I'm just going to work my way through each one. The first button here is Write the Resume. So I'll click on this. Here we offer help with writing the resume. So we have 3 different buttons here that you can click on. The first one is Resume Templates. So for anyone creating a resume for the first time, they can work off of one of these templates. So we have a description of the 4 basic types of resumes, and then down at the bottom here, a Word document template for each one. So you can open up one of those templates and start creating your resume from it. Just use it as a guide. They're there for students. The next option here is Resume Resources. So these are some links to other websites you can use to help you write a better resume. And then down at the bottom here, we actually have some updated resume templates. So these are more current than the ones we just saw. I'm going to click on one of these. They'll be moved over to that page eventually. They're just in this section for now. But I'll open up one of these just to show you what our templates look like. Sorry, it's just taking a second. Computer always runs slowly when GoToMeeting's running. And here's the template. So this is just one of them. They all look similar to this, but obviously with a different format. So we essentially have a sample resume here, and then we've put in red text a description of what should be included here in each section. So the student can essentially use this and erase the information here, add in their own information if they want to use this exact template, or of course just base their resume on something similar to this. If we go back to the website, the last option here in the resume section is our resume lab. So this lets students send in a copy of their resume once they have it written. They can send it in. One of our tutors will look it over, provide some formatting help as well as content help, and then we'll send that back to them. So we'll essentially make the resume look a little more professional, give suggestions on what should be included or should not be included, things like that. So to actually send your resume to us, all you have to do is click on the Browse button here to locate the file that you want to send in. I'll just attach a sample that I have here. Pretty much any standard document type is fine. Of course, it'll usually be a Word document, but other document types are fine. You can add any comments here. So you could type out specific jobs you're applying for, ideas you had about your resume, things you were thinking of including, anything you'd like to say to the tutor, you can type out here, and then click on Submit. Before I do that, though, you'll see it also says resume/cover letter. So we're happy to help with cover letters as well as resumes. Even though this is called the Resume Lab and it's sort of based around resumes, we're happy to help with cover letters as well. Once you're ready, just click on the Submit button. And the message in red here directs you to the Message Center up here at the top of the page. So this is where our response will be sent back. That'll come back within 1 business day, as it says right here. That's the max turnaround time. So as soon as the student sends in their resume, it's available to our tutors to edit. So if there's one available, they might send it back in an hour or 2, but at most we'll respond within 1 business day. So if you click on the Message Center up here at the top, right here is the document we just sent in, and then when our tutor sends back their response, it'll show up here directly below the document you submitted here. So the tutor will include comments and a document, of course, for you to open up to see what they changed on your resume. So that was the resume button. Are there any questions about that? I'll pause for a few seconds to give you time to type any questions you might have. What are the credentials of the reviewers? So for our academic subjects, it's more structured because they'll have a degree in the subject. They'll take practice tests in the subject. If it's a math tutor, science tutor. For our resume reviewers, they don't really have credentials like that, so they go through more training with us. They have to edit samples. They look over samples that we've done, and most of them are writing people, so they have a degree in writing or pursuing a higher degree in writing. Something like that. Some have backgrounds in HR, something like that. And then they do go through more training than our just regular academic tutors so that they know what we expect them to do in reviewing resumes and cover letters. And of course they have the standard credentials all of our tutors have, which is US-based, full background check, and at least a 4-year college degree. And there's a question saying, can you upload a Pages document, Mac OS? I'm not sure do you know what the document extension is on one of those types of documents? Well, I know we accept all standard types of files, and we have lots of students using Macs, so I assume so. I'm just not sure exactly what type of document extension comes with that type of document. Like instead of .doc, .rtf maybe? Is that type of document? Those we accept. We get a lot of those. Okay, my answer would probably be yes. I know we have lots of students who use Macs, and everything is compatible with Macs, so I assume those are fine. Any other questions right now? Okay, great. So I'll move on to the next button here. Next to the resume button, we have Ace the Interview. So after you write the resume, hopefully you get a job interview. So that's the next option that we have here. Again, we have three options. The first one here is the live interview coach. So this will connect you with one of our live tutors who can help you prepare for an interview. We'll look at a live session at the end today. I'm going to go through the full service first, and then the last thing we'll do is to see what a live session looks like. The interview tips button here, if you click on that, you can just click on each of these options right here, and it gives you some basic tips you can read through to prepare for an interview. So if I click on before the interview, for example, you can read through this page of tips that we have here. It's good for people who haven't done many interviews, especially, or haven't done interviews in a very long time. And then next to the interview tips button, we have online resources. So just like we had for resumes, here we have some links to other websites you can use that will help you prepare for an upcoming interview. So that was the Ace the Interview button. The next option here is links and tips. So if I click on that one, we have two options here within links and tips. The first one is career assessments. So if you have any patrons or students who have no idea what field or industry they want to go into, they can try taking one of these free career assessments. And then what a lot of people like to do is after taking one of these, they'll log in with one of our tutors, either in a live session or they can send in a document to us so they can log in a live session and get some help locating jobs in their area within that industry. We'd be happy to help them put together a resume around that industry that they were directed to, or just discuss the results they received. Anything like that, our tutors would be happy to help with. And next to the career assessments button, we have job resources. So this is a page that people can use to find available jobs to apply to. So we have two options. We have a nationwide resources option. So these are essentially job search websites that we've compiled. So this page here, the nationwide resources option, these are national job search websites. We have general job sites here at the top. Further down the page, we have job sites for students and recent graduates. And then down at the bottom, we have job sites for veterans. But if we go back, we also have a local resources option. So these are resources specific to your area. So these are just a few that we've added. And then we'd be happy to add any additional ones that you'd like to have show up here. Or if you want any of these removed for any reason, we can do that as well. So if you just send us by email any links you'd like us to include, we'd be happy to put those here for you. Okay, so that was the Ace the Interview button and the links and tips option. Are there any questions about either of those? Okay, great. See, there's no questions. So we'll move on to the last button down at the bottom. This is what we call the Adult Learning Center. So here in the Adult Learning Center, we have some options here that relate to the job search process, as well as a lot of options that are more for academic tutoring for adults. So the reason this is not really all specific to the job search process is that we have a link to our Adult Learning Center from a couple different services that we offer. So we have it here in Job Now. We also offer the Adult Learning Center from our academic tutoring service, which is separate, a totally separate service. But there's a little bit of overlap here in the Adult Learning Center. So your patrons or students will have access to everything I'm showing you here. Just giving a little background on why there are some resources here that relate to the job search process, as well as some that are just for general academic tutoring for adults. So on the right-hand side of this page, the Adult Learning Center, under where it says Lifelong Learning here, we have 5 options that are specific to academic tutoring. So for any adult learners who are going back to school and taking classes, who are preparing for any sorts of exams or certification tests, they can log in here to get some academic tutoring help. So we have a live tutoring option right here where you can connect with our live academic tutors. You just choose either basic, intermediate, or advanced, and then one of the academic subjects listed here, and then you click on Get Live Help and you can connect to a live tutor. Our live tutors, I don't think I mentioned this before, but our live tutors are available from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. So you can access our service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only thing that has limited hours is the access to live tutors, and that's 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. So that's for academic tutors here, as well as for tutors related to the job search process. The hours are the same. And you can also click right here if you'd like a Spanish-speaking tutor for these subjects. I'm going to skip the writing lab for just a second. The skills building option, over here on the right, the third option down, this also connects you with a live tutor. The only difference is that live tutoring is more for someone who has a specific question they'd like to ask, and skills building is for someone who's looking to get help learning a skill. So, scientific notation, multiplying fractions, just a general skill they're looking for help with, they'd go through skills building. But both of these will connect you with a live tutor. Doesn't really matter which one your patrons or students click on. They'll get connected with a live tutor either way who can help them with that subject. The writing lab button here, this works just like the resume lab that we saw before, where you can send in your resume to have it reviewed. Here you can do the exact same thing with a piece of writing. So a paper, an essay, anything like that can be sent in here through the writing lab. You just attach the document, add any comments, and click on Submit. Again, turnaround time is a max of 1 business day, same as before, and you see the message center still up here at the top of the page, so you can click right there to access the response that our tutor sends back. The test center option here, the next one down, this lets you take academic practice tests. So again, to do that, all you do is choose basic, intermediate, or advanced, and then one of the subjects here that's available, and you can take a practice test in that subject. They're reviewed, of course. You'll be able to see which questions you got wrong, but they're just for practice. You can take a number of tests. You can take the same one multiple times if you'd like. So they're just here for practice. And what a lot of people like to do is after taking one of these tests, they'll go back and log in with a live tutor. And our live tutors are actually able to access your test results. So you can let them know, I just took this writing test. I'd like to go over the questions I got wrong. The tutor can load those questions into the online classroom and go over them with you. And the last option here on the right, 24/7 help. This one also works just like the resume lab and the writing lab that we saw, where you could send in your resume or a piece of writing. But here in 24/7 help, you can send in a question. So you type out an academic question. You can attach a file if you have one. That's optional. And then send that in, and one of our tutors will send back a response. So you can use this outside of the live tutoring hours if you have a question, or if you just don't want to connect with a live tutor or don't have time, you can send in a question here. Our tutors aren't going to give out answers, so if you send in a math problem, they're not just going to send back the response. They will most likely work through a problem very similar to yours with different numbers to show you how to do that type of question. And then you can go back and do your actual question on your own. Or they might get you started if it's a multi-step problem, but they're not just going to give out answers. Okay, any questions about those options we just went over here on the right-hand side of the Adult Learning Center? Okay, great. So I'll move on to the left side over here, and these buttons we have available. The first one here is Pass the GED. So for anyone who is preparing to take the GED, again, some of these might not be relevant for your students. If you want me to skip them, you can just let me know. But the GED option here is available. So we have study materials on the left under number 1. Under number 2 in the middle, you can connect to a live tutor who can help you prepare for the GED test. Just choose one of the 5 sections of the test, and you can connect. Again, those hours will be the same for the live tutoring, so 2 to 11, 7 days a week. And then here on the right, you can take practice tests for the GED. So choose one of the sections, click on Take a Test, and the system will assign you a practice test for GED reading or whatever subject it is you choose. If we go back, right below the GED option, we have Prepare for the U.S. Citizenship Test. So we have the exact same options here as we did for the GED. So we have study materials here on the left. In the middle, we have live tutors available. Can help you prepare for this test. And then on the right, we have practice tests available. So those are the same options we had for the GED. They're just for the U.S. citizenship test. The next option here in the Adult Learning Center is Write a Winning Resume. So this overlaps a little bit with the resume section that we saw before, back on the main Job Now page. We have online resources here for resumes. In the middle, you can upload your resume. That's the exact same thing as the Resume Lab. So if you click on this button, you'll see it says Resume Lab here. So it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether your patrons or your students send in a resume here or through the main Job Now page. It works exactly the same way. And then here on the right, we have live resume help. So you can connect with a live tutor by clicking on this button and go over your resume in a live session. Or if you just have general questions about resumes, you can ask those. Anything related to resumes, our tutors will be happy to help with. The next button below the resume option, here's Microsoft Office help. So here we offer help with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint up to the most recent versions of those programs. So here on the left, we have some online resources, including some free tutorials. And then on the right, you can connect to a live tutor and ask any questions you have about Excel, PowerPoint, or Word. Again, the live tutoring will be available 2 to 11 for those Microsoft Office tutors, same as for the other subjects. And then the last option below Microsoft Office help is career resources. So this page you'll recognize, it's just the list of websites that we have available that your patrons or students can use to find available jobs to apply to. So the options will be the same. So we have the nationwide resources and the local resources. Those, again, they'll be exactly the same, the options available here. Okay, any questions about anything here in the Adult Learning Center? Those are essentially all of the options available here on this page. Okay, so no questions, so I'm going to go back to the home page. So those are essentially the 4 basic options that we have, 4 basic buttons here for Job Now. So those are the main services that are offered. You can use this right here to do a quick job search by either keyword or location, and that will search one of our databases for available jobs. So patrons can use that. We also have up here at the top my Cloud Pack option. So if you click on this, this blue window opens up. Cloud Pack is essentially a storage device. So it's empty right now. This one hasn't been used, but I can click here and add whatever folders I'd like. So you could say add one for resumes, maybe another for cover letters, and then I can upload documents into those folders, and they'll be saved here. So in one capacity, it just works as a backup storage device. You know, your computer crashes, you can go here to access these documents. But the nice thing about Cloud Pack is that once you have documents there uploaded into your Cloud Pack, you can access those in a live session and essentially upload them right onto our whiteboard so you and the tutor can look at them together. I'll mention that again in a few minutes when we're connected in the live session. I'm just going to pause the screen for a second to get the live session set up. The screen should be live again. So we're here on the main Job Now page. We saw a lot of different areas where you can connect with live tutors. And the first one we saw was in the Ace the Interview section, right here, and the Live Interview Coach. So you can click on this button and connect with a live tutor. So we'll do that now and look at a live session. The online classroom here that's loading always looks the same, so you always see the same classroom here, no matter what subject you choose, whether it's interview prep help or a math session. You'll see the same options here. So there's two basic parts to the online classroom. There's the whiteboard space up here and the chat box down at the bottom. So normally a session would start with the tutor greeting the student and then asking what exactly they need help with. So this is the tutor's name. So this is me. I'm logged in as a tutor right now. So there's not an actual other person there, so nobody to greet. But if the tutor was there, of course, they'd start the session and the student can respond here in the chat box. So most of the back and forth communication will happen down here in the chat box. But you can also use the whiteboard space up here to communicate, and this can be used for a number of other things. So if a student logs in saying they need general help on how to multiply fractions, we have lessons created for all the basic academic subjects. So our tutor might load the lesson on how to multiply fractions here into the online classroom and then work through that with the student. If a student logs in to get help on their resume, the tutor might load one of our sample resumes or one of our resume templates here right onto the whiteboard, and then they can look at that together with the student. If you log in for interview help, as we did here, the tutor might load one of our many sets of interview questions. We have general interview questions and then specific sets of questions for all the basic industries. The tutor might load a sample cover letter if the student's looking for help with that. So it just depends on what the student is looking for, and our tutors have access to a lot of different resources that they can load into the whiteboard space here. But this area can be used for other things as well. So if a student has a math problem, they can use all these buttons here along the left-hand side just to type out a math problem and work through that with a tutor. Or if they're working on a cover letter, they could type out their intro paragraph or copy and paste their intro paragraph here and then go over that with the tutor. So the tutor can explain all this to the student. If the student says they need help with their cover letter, the tutor will explain the options for how they can help them. So I'll quickly go through the buttons here just to let you know how these work. So if you put your mouse over each one, it'll give you a little description of what that button does. So the pencil just lets you draw on the board. The eraser will let you erase. And this is all interactive. So whatever I'm putting on the whiteboard here as the student, it's showing up on the tutor's whiteboard and vice versa. So it's essentially like we're working on the same whiteboard. So if the tutor types something, then as a student, I can underline it, highlight it, circle it, anything like that. We're working on the same board. The ABC button lets me click anywhere on the board and then type. Font button just lets me change the font style and size that I'm typing in. Color wheel lets me change the color of the next thing that I put on the board. This is our copy and paste option. So you can copy and paste text and put it right onto the whiteboard using this button. This is a straight line tool, so you can use that to underline or to draw figures. This option right here, it looks like a graph, actually gives you two options when you click on it. So you can choose the number line and click and drag the number line onto the board, or you can choose the graph option and click and drag a graph. And you can also double click on the icons here, and that will let you change the X and Y values. This is a basic shapes tool, so you can use this to put lines on a graph or to put some other basic shapes on the board. This arrow here is undo, so it just removes the most recent thing you put on the board. So you can keep clicking on that and you move backwards. The math button gives you a long list of math symbols if you need any. SCI does the same thing for science symbols. Then we have a superscript button and a subscript button in case you need either of those for a math problem or a chemistry problem. And then down at the bottom, you can clear the entire whiteboard. Up at the top here, we have a few additional options. So the print button here, that will let you print out the whiteboard. So if you went over something with a tutor that was really helpful, you can use the print button to print it out. You have a hard copy of it. But if we go back to the website, you also have this past sessions button here. So this will essentially record and save your live tutoring sessions. So you can always log back in here and click on the play button to replay your past tutoring sessions. So you can always replay, essentially rewatch the tutoring session as it happens from this page. So it's like a little video recording of the whiteboard screen here. This option right here lets you enter your email address, and then it actually sends a link to your email that you can click on to view that recording of your session. So it just gives you access to that through your email rather than having to sign in to Brainfuse. And this button right here says Send File. So this lets you upload a document to your tutor. So if you have a 5-page paper you're working on, you can send that to the tutor here. They can look it over. So you each have a copy of it, and then they can discuss different parts of it, give you some suggestions for how to improve that. And it's not just documents that can be sent back and forth. You can send other types of files as well, PowerPoints, Excel, things like that. And then the last button here is the Cloud Pack Explorer. So the Cloud Pack was the storage device that we looked at before, where you can upload documents to it. And then when you're in the live session here, you can access all those documents that you have saved in your Cloud Pack by clicking right here, and they can be uploaded right onto the whiteboard. So that would let you and the tutor look at it together. So you have a few options for getting things onto the whiteboard. You can use Cloud Pack, or you can copy and paste them, or you can actually just send the entire document to the tutor you're connected with. Okay, so that's basically how the online classroom works. That's also pretty much everything that's available in the Job Now service. So that's everything I wanted to go over today. But now I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has, or I can go back over anything. Maybe I went over something too quickly. So is there anything I can do? Any questions I can answer? Do I have a sample of a reviewed resume or cover letter? Let me see if I have one on my computer. I'm not sure if I do, but let me check. And if, in the meantime, while I'm looking, if you have any additional questions, you can go ahead and type them out. Let me click on play to make the screen go live. I don't really have a current version of a reviewed resume. They're a little bit different than the reviewed writing files that we send back, so it really wouldn't actually look like that much to you without seeing the original. So with resumes, what we usually do is we'll clean up the formatting. So this might be a reviewed resume right here. I don't actually have the original though, but we'll fix the formatting. So this will come back sort of in a ready-to-go format here. But anything we had, any questions we had, or suggestions we had for the content would be included in here. And then we also send back a rubric, which is essentially just a little cover sheet that we send back that will, let the student know, you can resubmit this if you need to, and then it will have sort of overview comments from the tutor. So, saying we recommend moving this section to the top, adding this type of information here, in your experience. So it'll have overview comments from the tutor who's reviewing the file, and then some tutors will also put comments within the body of the resume itself. It really just depends on the tutor who's reviewing it. but that's essentially how we'll send it back. So it wouldn't look too different unless you were comparing it to one of the original submissions. And then there's a question saying, could you demonstrate the live interview coaching? So that takes place in a regular live session. So if I open up the online classroom, the student would say, I have an interview coming up for this particular type of job or this industry. The tutor would load our list of interview questions, or that might be one way they do it. Some tutors use the list of questions. Some tutors make up their own questions. And then the tutor would ask a sample question. The student writes out their response, and then the tutor critiques it. So that's usually how an interview session would go. We don't use audio for any of our live sessions. We have in the past, but it's deactivated, so everything is done through either the whiteboard or the chat box. Any other questions right now? Will we ever offer video chat? At this time, we're not planning on it. Even with audio, there were a lot of issues just with getting the tutor and student connected. And the other thing is it's harder to monitor. We don't know what's being said back and forth. So we like to have a record of everything that's said between the tutor and student. So for now, we don't have any plans to offer video chat. Any other questions I can answer? Okay, thanks a lot for attending, Debbie, and whoever else is there with you. If any of you have any questions as you're using the service or any time in the future, you can feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to answer them. All right, have a great day, and thanks for attending, everyone.